Welcome to today's episode of Did You Talk the Teacher Talk? Today's guests are a first-year teacher and a pre-service teacher. Today, we will be talking about self-assessment. Self-assessment is a controversial issue, which is becoming more common in Saskatchewan schools. Today, we will get to the bottom of this issue by talking with various teachers. The two guests have the option to call someone if they need assistance. We will start with an introduction of each guest. So please tell me where you're from and what your take on self-assessment is.
I'm Tanis. I'm from Midale, Saskatchewan. I'm currently a first-year teacher, and I think that self-assessment is a great way for students to get involved in the evaluation process. It helps students set goals and see areas that they can improve and areas where they can excel.
My name is Jillian, and I'm currently a pre-service teacher at the University of Regina. I think that self-assessment is a great tool, but I'm really hesitant to use it as I do not know how effective it will be. In past experiences with self-assessment, students did not give accurate evaluation of their work because they only want to receive the best mark. I'm hoping that your advice will motivate me to incorporate self-assessment into my classroom.
Alrighty, now that we know more about you, let's begin. Tanis, why do you think it is important to incorporate self-assessment into your classroom?
I think that it's very important to include self-assessment into the classroom as it gives students a say in how they are evaluated. This is important for our students as it makes the lesson much more engaging for the students. Self-assessment can also be highly motivated as students want to put forth the best work. Students can critically think about what they need to work on for the next time and also be proud of their accomplishments that they've evaluated.
All right, great answer. Jillian, what are some effective self-assessment tools you can think of?
I haven't really had a lot of experience with self-assessment yet. We've only learned about a few tools so far in university. I think that I might have to ask a friend on this one. Erin, what are your thoughts on this?
Thanks, Erin. I totally agree. Thanks for your answer. Tanis, what are some of the pros using self-assessment in the classroom?
I find that some of the pros of having self-assessment in this classroom is that it gives students a say in the way that they are marked. Students are also aware of what is expected of them in the assignment, so they are able to meet the guidelines and achieve success. Students also feel as though they are included in the learning process, and this makes it much more engaging for the students. They will also learn from their mistakes, and this will help them set goals for their future assignments.
That sounds like some great reasons to use self-assessment, Tanis. Jillian, what are some reasons why you would be skeptical to use self-assessment in your future classroom?
Well, I'm nervous to incorporate self-assessment into my classroom as I'm not sure how effective the outcome will be for the students. Some students may not critically think about the guidelines that are given and give themselves a perfect score on every assignment. If students do this, they will not understand how to learn from their mistakes. And I think it's important to incorporate self-assessment in the classroom, but I don't think that we can always rely on it.
You raised some great points. Do you think that self-assessment is a fair and authentic way, Tanis?
Well, I have some strong views on this, but I'm also a very strong believer in teamwork and working with my colleagues and getting advice from them. I actually know a teacher who has some great self-assessment ideas, and she is someone I always go to when I have those kinds of questions. I think I'd like to ask her a question, and her name is Alicia. What are your thoughts on this?
That was a very insightful answer, Alicia, giving our viewers a better understanding of why self-assessment is so beneficial. Jillian, what questions do you think self-assessment raises?
Well, the main question, of course, in addition to what Alicia said, is whether or not the students will portray their full potential in each assignment, knowing that they can give whatever mark that they want. Being a pre-service teacher, I do not have much experience assessing students in my fieldwork. Right now, I'm taking a great assessment course at the university. I think I'm going to have to give my prof, Donna Nikiforuk, a call, as she has many years of experience and will be very helpful to our viewers. Donna, do you have any other questions we should consider before incorporating self-assessment into our classroom?
Wow, Donna! You must do this as your job. You are one smart cookie. You go, girl. We have one last question before we close today's session. Tanis, who do you think that self-assessment benefits?
Well, I definitely think that self-assessment benefits both the student and the teacher. Of course, it benefits the students as it gives them a say on how they are marked, and it also benefits the teacher because it gives them the chance to reach out other means of marking assignments. The way a student assesses themselves is almost assessment in itself for us.
I agree with you totally, Terrence. Well, that wraps up our talk today. We have definitely heard some insightful comments about the importance of self-assessment. Thanks for all you viewers for helping out with our guests. Join us next week for learning about the challenges of teaching those frisky little devils about sex ed. See you next week.
See you next week.
Come down, selector.
You're
Go.
first.
Well,
Yeah,
but
so I'm
I'm
over
over
here.
Scroll it.
Well, no, you don't.
You're up there. What if I got to taking them to be like, okay.
She's gonna watch.
Okay, let's
Okay.
pause for 5 seconds.
Okay, ready?
Start.
Take a breathe. Breath.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my god. Take all day. Okay, stop
okay.
it. Just
No, I'm ready.
down it.
Just restart
It's
here.
really hard to read.
No, I'll start at
Assessment can also be highly motivational as students want to put forth their, highly motivational as students want to further, as students want to put forth their
Jillian,
best
do you
work.
think the self-assessment is fair? And by Jillian, I think I mean Janice.
Just ask
We have one last question before we close today's session. Tanis, do you think self-assessment benefits? And by who I mean